challenger. That's enough. Unbeatable.
This is the Alpha Lift Street Fighter Alpha 3 podcast with your hosts, Quest and Lukefitz.
It's showtime.
Hello and welcome to episode 15 of the Alpha Lives podcast. I'm Luke and I'm joined as always by Quest. And today we have the privilege of talking to a man whose voice I'm sure you've heard before. He's known as the messenger of Japanese folk songs. He's a singer, songwriter, voice actor, DJ, and master of ceremonies. And most importantly for our purposes today on the podcast, the announcer from Street Fighter Alpha 3. And it's an honor to welcome Greg Irwin to the show. So without further ado, I'll hand over to Quest to kick off the show.
Thanks, Luke. Welcome to the show, Greg. How are you today?
Hey, Chris. Thank you so much. I'm great. It's really nice of you to ask me to be on this morning.
Yeah, thanks. Well, thanks for coming on. A lot of people are looking forward to this episode in particular. How did you develop your interest in Japan? Because you were from America, then you moved there, right?
Yeah, it's a kind of a long story. I was running away from an ex-girlfriend, and I was living in a really cold state called Minneapolis, Minnesota. It was in the winter. I was a theater major there, and a friend of mine asked me if I wanted to go to Hawaii for winter quarter. So I was like, wow, that's the way I can escape from this relationship I was in.
Wow, that's a pretty intense. Was the weather part of it at all as well, or was mainly escape?
It was like a win-win, you know. It was way out of the relationship, and it was also Hawaii in January. So I moved to Hawaii when I was 21 years old, and then there were like so many Japanese in Hawaii at the time. So that's where I got like an interest in Japan. So I really couldn't get a job singing in Hawaii there. So everyone was telling me like, Greg, you should go to Japan. You know, Japan's a great place. So that's how I ended up coming here when I was 20, in my early 20s, actually.
So was there a big music scene in Japan at the time? Like, why was it that there was more jobs for singers in Japan than Hawaii at the time?
Like Hawaii focuses on Hawaiian music.
Yeah,
There's not really enough work to go around for Hawaiian singers. So they were kind of resentful of people like me coming from the mainland and, you know, not really having any roots in Hawaii and trying to get a job singing there. But whereas in Japan, they were like really open to American singers or even Aussie singers, any place from somewhere else. So there was like a lot more work available. So that's originally how I came here. You know,
what kind of music? What repertoire did you have? What kind of songs are we talking about?
Well, at that
crooning?
time, like I was singing like country roads.
Oh yeah, true American.
All these really stereotypical popular songs that the Japanese people knew.
Yeah. Okay.
And I didn't know anything like about voice acting at the time. I didn't realize that was a career or a job, or I didn't. So, and it was just really fortunate because I had been a DJ in Hawaii. And my landlord in Japan was like, hey, you should enter this DJ contest. So I entered that contest and I won the contest. And then that was the reason I got into voice acting.
Okay, right. So when did you realize, like, growing up, that your voice was something special, like it was different to other people, or it was something that only clicked kind of later on?
Well, that's kind of you to say. I still don't know if my voice is something very special.
I think it is. I think you have a beautiful, resonant voice.
Wow, thank you. No studio here. We're just talking on the phone too. But
yeah, sure. Yeah.
My father had like a deep voice, and then his brother was mysteriously like a professor of speech at Syracuse University. Okay. Kind of a famous one, apparently. But so I it's like all of our stuff. I guess it's in your DNA, your voice. And then my brother and sister were both singers. So I was the youngest, so I was just expected to sing. I never really got much attention. My brother and sister got all the attention. So then I realized, wow, yeah, I guess I have sort of a soothing voice. Yep. In English, my voice is deep, and when I speak Japanese, my voice is higher, a higher intonation.
Is that on purpose, or
I guess it's because I learned how to speak Japanese from women, basically. And
Oh,
so
okay.
the intonation of my Japanese, like, 日本語で喋るとこちらぐらいになるけ
Yeah.
ど, but when I speak English, it's like my deeper
Mhm.
voice. Yeah, that's how I started.
So how did you get a job working for Capcom?
For what's that, for Capcom?
Yes.
Yeah. So the Street Fighter Alpha 3 kind of stuff.
The
How
Street
did that-
Fighter Alpha 3 thing
Yeah.
was, I got this radio show on FM Yokohama, and then it was called Amusement Hotline, and then I was suddenly around other voice people, and then I realized, like maybe a lot of people do in life, wow, there's a career in voice acting. So there at that time, there were not that many voice agencies for foreigners here in Japan. So it was actually a golden era, because
Yeah.
you could,
Okay.
I made a voice demo and just started doing jobs. And then like the Street Fighter, that was all recorded in Japan. Now,
Yeah. Okay.
now they're recording a lot in Los Angeles. Well, now with Corona, where nobody's going anywhere.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
so they're recording more outside of Japan now. So actually the jobs working on these voice games in Japan have really dried up now. There's not that many
Yeah. Okay.
jobs like that. But in those days, they send your voice, and then the directors of the games would choose it, and you go and you negotiate how much you're going to get paid. You get a huge thing of water, and you literally scream your head off all day.
Is that do they do that at the Capcom offices or in like a recording studio somewhere, or how does that work?
They do it in a very professional recording studio. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Is it weird shouting like some of the lines from Alpha 3, like "Nobody blink," "You have fists of God"? Is it like weird kind of shouting that stuff in a very professional recording studio?
Actually, your voice sounds pretty good to me.
Oh, really? Like, who comes up with those lines? Do they give them to you?
They have like the script all written out, and then basically we're not like matching the voices usually. We're usually just like reading off all the lines in the studio, and then because it's Japan, there's sometimes limited English ability.
Yep.
So sometimes literally we as voice actors in Japan, especially in those days, we'd also kind of correct the English. And then also they would ask me, Greg, can you just think of some lines yourself? Just make them up. Yeah. So you just kind of like make up lines as you go along, and the art of being a good voice actor is to please the director, basically, and the client.
Okay.
So they're sitting there, and you just have to give them what they want, and so you try to get as much information from them of what they want, and especially Japanese directors are usually not very. I mean, they're the Japanese people are kind of reserved.
Yep.
So they're not.
They won't tell you if you're bombing.
Yeah, well, I mean, they just won't give. Often they won't give you that much information. So
okay.
But you just kind of get as much information as you can, and then do it as much as you can until they're satisfied. And because I'm also a singer, it sometimes really hurts your voice. So you got to just if you drink water all the time while screaming, you're going to be fine. I don't know if I scream that much in Street Fighter, but some games I really scream, like dying scenes. They want you to die over and over again.
Yeah. Like you're in the King of Fighters as well. I think there's another fighting game from that kind of era.
Yeah, we'll get to that. But before that, were there any lines for Alpha 3 that were particularly difficult to get right?
Actually, you're gonna have to remind me of those lines.
All right. Like it's showtime.
Nobody blink.
Nobody blink.
Face him straight.
Triumph or die.
Yeah, Triumph or die. That's a good one.
Go for broke.
Yeah, go for broke.
Let's party.
Go for broke. It all comes pretty natural to me, I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
But
the
the funny thing is, to be honest, I am like the most non-violent person
Yeah.
in the world.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this is all like, acting for the game,
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
What's the motivation for them to do it in English? Like even the Japanese release of the game has your voice in it, I believe, like as the announcer. Do you know why the Japanese game developers like to have the English voiceover?
I guess it's just more interesting, to have it I don't want to say anything that inappropriate.
Yeah, sure, yeah. Yep.
I guess it's kind of maybe that they have like a kind of a complex against Western culture a little bit.
Mhm.
So probably having in English is just more interesting than doing everything in Japanese.
Mhm. Yep.
It's like we don't have that in Australia or in the West. Like, oh, let's put some Japanese in there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But English, I guess it's because of the old British Empire. They took over the world and all that stuff. They tried to. So they made English such a huge language throughout the world. So I think that's why English in Japan is still used a lot.
Yeah. Okay.
Even though a lot of Japanese don't speak English that well.
Mhm.
And as you know, the English in Japan is not so understandable, like mako do naru do toka.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, but I guess they just add it for color and interest, make it fun.
Mhm. Did you get to see any of the gameplay while you were recording it, or do you know what stage of the development process this was at? Was this like right at the end, so they would do the voiceovers, or when is this happening?
Sorry, I just ate Thai curry, so.
Oh, really? Yeah, okay, no worries. Yep, do whatever you need.
To be really honest, voice actors, it depends on what the game is, but like in those days. But actually, I just did a new game last fall.
Oh, really?
And it was the same. You basically get a picture of the character, you get pictures, but usually it's still in the really beginning stages.
Yeah.
So it's kind of embarrassing to admit, like, I've never played the game.
Yeah.
And if I did play the game, I'd be like, wow, that would be like really cool to to hear your voice and stuff.
Oh, so you haven't even have you heard your voice in the game? It's very prominent. Like anybody who's played the game would be able to comment on it. Like it's quite, as soon as you start playing the game, you hear a very, very distinctive announcer voice.
I love it. Can you believe it? You guys are enlightening me. Like
we'll have to send you a video of it.
Would you please?
Yeah, for sure.
I would really appreciate that.
Wow, that's incredible. Yeah, like if you search on the internet, there's people debating what's the best fighting game announcer, and Alpha 3 is one that gets brought up a lot. So you've got fans out there.
It's so cool. Like occasionally I will get like people who like kind of find me, like stalk me a little bit, like real hardcore gamers.
Really? Wow.
I mean, which is nice.
Like
I
us?
guess I'm always but I'm in Japan, so they can't come after me or anything.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But I actually have female voice actor friends who got really much more attention in that way,
Yeah.
Especially one. She was unfortunately, I mean, like she got some like crazies like going after her.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. That's a hazard of the job for sure.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
What are some of your other
I'd
memorable?
I really haven't heard it.
Yeah, no, we'll send that to you after for sure. What are some of your other most memorable voice acting roles? Like I saw you were the voice of one of the Japanese airlines, I think, and maybe some phones. And like, what are some of your other most memorable moments?
In Japan, I'm most well known for I was the You Got Mail guy.
Oh,
So
that's awesome. How did that come about?
When the phones first, had the mail messaging coming out.
Yeah.
In Japan, my voice was, "You got mail." It was kind of like, "You got mail," and then that was a really popular ringtone that everybody had.
Mhm.
So when I tell people Japan, in Japan now, you got mail. They're like, oh my god, oh my god.
Yeah. So do people
Yeah.
recognize your voice in person for that? Or?
Not unless I do that. You got mail.
Right, yeah. Oh, good party
Yeah.
trick to have.
Yeah, and then I was the voice for ANA Airlines.
Mhm.
And actually they switched the voice for a special Olympic. They changed it all for the Olympics.
Oh, really? For
And
20.
now, and actually just yesterday, today is what, Sunday?
Yes, on it.
The Olympics were supposed to open Friday night, like 2 nights ago.
Oh, really? Yeah.
So,
Yep.
yeah, major bummer for us, as you can imagine. So,
Yeah, massive.
but I mean, the whole world is like in a bummer. It's not,
Yep.
But also, there's a new airline in Taiwan,
Mhm.
Starlux.
Starlux.
To be
Okay.
honest, you guys like this kind of game stuff. You
Mhm.
guys should check that out. You can check it out on YouTube.
Starlux Airline.
Yeah, Starlux Airlines. It's
Is there gaming on the
Starlux.
aircraft or something?
Pardon?
Yeah. What does it have to do with gaming?
Yeah, is there gaming on there?
Yeah, exactly. The reason it has to do with gaming is because unbelievable, this airline. It's the son of the guy who owns China Airlines in Taiwan. He got in an argument with his father and decided to make his own airline.
Oh yeah, as you did.
And they made the in-flight announcement. They made it with Pixar in LA, and they spent like almost $1 million. It's like 900 some thousand dollars, US dollars on this thing, and it's all animated. And it's like
This is like the safety announcement.
The safety announcement is like gonna blow your mind.
Yeah. So
They made all these like really unique characters. It's like a game. It's like they made all these really unique characters. It's like really unique. And then that airline opened this year in January.
Mhm.
That was kind of a big job I did recently. And then of course Corona happened in March.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they're probably having a kind of a tough time. But yeah, go on YouTube and
we'll
check
check
out
it out.
Starlux Airlines and check out their in-flight announcement. And it's pretty cool.
We might put a little snippet in here for people to listen to.
Yeah, it's super cool. And I also did Disneyland a long time ago.
Oh, really? Like what kind of announcements? Like stuff to do with the rides or?
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Tokyo Disneyland.
Yeah.
Today, please, yeah. And we have it in Japanese and English.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and let's see, I did Star Wars was kind of cool.
Wow.
Like, they had the first Star Wars convention here, and I got to work with Mark Hamill at the time.
Yep.
Who was from the original Star Wars.
Yeah. Luke himself.
And it's been a lot of really cool stuff. I think if I lived in LA or New York, it'd be maybe cooler, but I have like a lot of more competition. So.
Yeah, definitely. Because Mark Hamill, he was he did a lot of work in voice acting as well, didn't he? Like, as well as on screen.
He did, yeah, exactly. But he was really a super nice guy, and I also did like MLB, and then they changed it to call it the WBC, which is the World Baseball Classic. I did like announcing for them, and done a lot of stuff, and actually, a ton of stuff I can't even remember, I think.
Yep. Wow.
But being a voice actor is great because you just show up and you talk and you get paid.
Yeah. Yep. Do you have any horror stories? Like, what was like one of the most difficult jobs or like the strangest things that people have got you to say?
Funny horror stories. Like, well, now because of Corona, like we're grateful to get any kind of job.
Yeah.
we show
difficult.
up and do anything, and so it's been a real. It's really like
tough period.
Lessened our egos, right?
Yep.
But the worst kind of jobs would be like, for example, you're gonna read the dictionary, and they've always got we got no budget for this. In Japan, the first thing they usually say is, there's no budget, for this. So they're always trying to get you to do the job for as little amount of money as possible.
Yeah. Okay.
And then and I think one of my worst was that I I was in this tiny little booth. I mean, you couldn't believe how small it was. I mean,
Yeah.
it's literally like standing, room
Mhm.
only. And then they had no ventilation in there.
Mhm.
And so as soon as you close the door, literally it was like no air.
Yeah.
And
Just
it was like an endless job where I was supposed to read like thousands and thousands of words,
Man,
just
is-
words.
yeah.
And that was pretty tough. Another time, I think back, I had food poisoning. I ate oysters.
Mm. Yeah.
And people, live oysters.
Live.
You're not, I mean, like, how do you call that? I mean, not heated oysters. What do you call those? Fresh oysters.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you guys, can you eat those? Are you allergic to those?
I have had them from time to time, but I wouldn't say I'm a connoisseur of oysters.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as Luke on that one.
Yeah.
You guys should be careful of them because, like,
Okay. Yeah.
I had them in Japan, and people like, Japan is totally safe, and they were laughing at me. And anyway, like, literally, I didn't die,
Yeah. Good stuff.
but you feel like you're gonna die. And then I had a
Okay.
voiceover job that day. I got sick
Wow.
like that night, and then so literally I was like throwing up and with
Mm-hmm.
diarrhea and like leaving the studio, running out of the studio like every like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And the voice actress I was with, she thought I had a hangover, so she couldn't get it in.
Yeah. It was like,
Anyway,
oh, look at this,
that's
look at this
fine.
American, this party animal.
Yeah. Or another one would be like you get to the studio and you have some kind of script, and then the script is just awful. I mean, it's completely like someone who wrote it who has only like studied English for the third grade, and they're writing about scientific stuff or something.
Yeah.
And it's a total mess, and they're like, "Can you fix the script, Greg?"
Yeah. So you become a writer as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
And it's
or
like
editor,
that.
yeah.
Those kind of jobs are awful.
Some
And
of
believe it or not, I didn't mean to talk so much. Believe it or not, I find having a Western director is a pain.
Really? Because
Like
they're more
Japanese-
demanding, or
Yeah, Japanese are like totally cool and chill and stuff. But every once in a while you get like an American or somebody who works for the company, and they feel like they have to like show their worth.
yeah, they got a point to
So
prove.
they show up, and then there's they're like, I've had some experiences with them. I find Japan is awesome. People are just more chill here.
I've looked up some of your previous work, and you've done King of Fighters 12 in 2009. Do you remember doing that?
Specific question.
Yeah. Do you remember doing it?
I'm a really honest person. So to be real honest, I don't remember.
You don't remember? So also Shenmue and Bloody Raw. Do you remember those?
Yeah, I remember Shamu and Bloody Roar, but I don't remember any of the lines. But
Okay.
yeah, I remember doing those. And actually, I did a lot that aren't on there.
Yeah.
Well, do you have any memories that stand out to you when it comes to Bloody Raw and Shenmue, like going to the studio or getting the gig?
Well, for us, it's just a different experience than the people that play the game,
Yeah.
So for us, our memories are of this is maybe not a very interesting answer, but we had a really close knit group of voice actors in Japan. In fact, one is Ozzy, Donna Burke. Check her out. She's also done a ton of stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
And then we so in those days, like during that period, we were really a tight group of voice actors. We're really close. We really supported each other, and I think we weren't really that jealous of each other because there was a lot of work around. You could easily get like $1,000 a day in Japan doing voice acting in those days.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So it was like a really kind of a good gig. And what happened to it was some of it's like social media. Which I'm really into Facebook and stuff like that. Too much. My partner thinks I'm like way too addicted to it.
Well, if it gets you jobs, I guess.
Yeah. Well, what happened was, as you know, that's the phenomenon with everywhere. Now you just like look at people's pictures and like them. And if you call somebody, it's like, why would you call somebody? You text somebody.
Yeah.
So as a result, that's the thing I remember. It's like now we don't have that close knit voice actor group like going to do like Shenmue or just doing those kind of jobs. We'd have a really good memories. We'd do the job. We'd go out afterwards. We had a really good time. Now everybody's like in their own little world.
Yeah.
And voice actors aren't, and there's not as much work because a lot of the work has moved out of Japan. So there's a little bit more of a competitive feeling. I feel that way. Maybe some other voice actor might not feel that way, but
yeah, sure.
So that was a memory. It was a really a good time. It was a really good period in Japan for voice actors.
What advice would you have for some, young up and coming person who wants to become a voice actor? Is it harder to get into now than it was, or?
Yeah, but I hate being negative because being negative,
yeah, sure.
There's nothing that's gonna bring you anything positive if you're negative about stuff. And so, I mean, I would just suggest do what I did. Like when I started, people told me you just need to. This sounds really dumb, maybe, but it's true. Like find a voice actor you like. Or find a newscaster you like, and we used to literally like videotape them, and then repeat what they say.
Yeah. Okay. So you're copying just the little little tricks or little intonations that they use.
Yeah. So just start out like copying, and then and that's the way you learn, like to speak, properly. And then there's little things like a P. Like some young voice actors, they call it pop your P's.
Yep.
They accidentally make noises. You got to be careful. You can't make noises with your mouth, like little clicky stuff, or it's a kind of a really physical thing, like with saliva and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I would just suggest listen to other people and try, and then you should make a really good voice demo. It's going to cost a little bit of money, and make a professional sounding voice demo with as much of things on it. And now there's stuff online. You can just literally upload online, and you can, if you want to invest, make a little home recording studio and then try to get jobs wherever you are. You don't have to move to some big city now.
Yeah. And I guess that's the benefit of the internet, is that it, allows somebody in Sydney or in Tokyo or whatever to work on jobs everywhere.
Yeah. And I haven't really done that. I haven't focused energy on that because fortunately I've had a lot going on. So I really didn't need to do that. And we have a bunch of dogs. And my dogs bark all the time. It's a miracle they're not barking right now. But so it's like I just haven't made the home studio thing, but it's definitely what people should do. I'm like a dinosaur by not doing it already.
Yeah, well, you're from the traditional media world, I guess.
I guess so. I mean, I've even got some of the stuff, the mics and stuff. I just haven't done it. So, but that's what I would suggest to people: do it yourself. Yeah, right. Yeah. And stay positive.
Yep.
Right.
I think, are you still there, Quest? I think we had some questions from listeners that people had for you. He might have dropped off. He's gone.
He's bored already. He's like,
yeah, he must. No, I don't think he's bored. This is fascinating.
We've heard that guy.
yeah, exactly. While he's gone, I want to ask you some questions about your music, because I found it really interesting that you sing a lot of Japanese songs.
Can you hear?
Yeah. Okay, you're back now.
Yeah, you're back.
Yeah, sorry, my connection went out.
Oh no. I was just going to say, where did your interest in Japanese music start? So you said when you went over, you were singing like, Country Roads Take Me Home. Like when did you kind of get into singing songs in Japanese?
It was through voice acting, actually. I was doing a voiceover job, and I had always written songs in the United States, but I never really. I asked people there, and they're like, if you really want to be a professional songwriter, in those days, right?
Yeah.
You had to live in Los Angeles, or
Nashville,
New York City, or Nashville, Tennessee. That was like, you had to move to one of those cities. You couldn't just like be living in Iowa or something.
Yeah. Okay.
So I basically never was able to pursue that. And then I met a singer here. It's a long story, but and I went to Nashville, Tennessee with him. This Japanese guy takes me to an American city to show me around, you know.
Okay. Yeah, interesting. So it sounds like a sitcom or something.
Yeah. But in those days, like Nashville was like really booming with songwriters.
Yeah.
It was really open. Well, I mean, who's the famous Aussie
Keith
country
Urban.
singer?
Keith Urban.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like Keith Urban. So, you know, and so I went there, and some people listen to my songs and like, you're like, you know, you could totally write popular songs.
Yeah. Okay.
But
What were you writing in a country kind of style or folk, or what kind of things
Not
were
at
you
all.
into?
Just kind of like pop songs. It's
Yeah,
just
right.
This guy just happened to have lived in Nashville and was familiar with the music industry. So he was like, you can totally write, you know, professional songs. So Greg, this is like, you know, you should move to LA. You got to move to LA. Okay. So actually I went to LA a few times, and like I lived in Hawaii, right, in my 20s. So I just never had an affection for LA.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, I know there's some beautiful places, and if you're super rich, you know, and you can,
in the hills,
and you can, and you're like, your dad's a billionaire, then LA is probably awesome.
Yeah.
But I just could never really envision myself living in LA. And then I'm a type of person who's always been in a relationship.
Yep.
And so I was always in a relationship. So I couldn't see how I could get my how I could move that relationship to LA. So so I came back to Japan, and I put singer songwriter on my business card, and then I gave that to someone at a voiceover job, and then he had this idea to translate all this huge genre of Japanese songs into English, but he was just going to do 10. And he thought he'd do that. He could sell it as an English learning tool in Japan.
Ah, okay. Yeah, interesting.
So he saw that I was a songwriter and I could speak Japanese. So he's like, you can try writing English words to these songs. So I did that. And then it turned out to be those songs in Japan were like a really big success. I mean, they're not that well known outside of Japan yet. But now I've translated like 100 of their songs.
Is this Doyo? How do you pronounce that?
D-O-Y-O. It's called Doyo.
Okay.
And they're awesome songs.
These are like children, like originally children's songs. Is that correct, or?
Well, in Japan, they call them children's songs, but if you listen to them, they're not really very, very childlike.
Okay, they're not what we would think as.
They're kind of like folk songs, but we really don't have a genre like that in the West. Like we don't have a genre like Doyo in the West. So you kind of have to listen to them and make your own. They're not like, when we hear children's songs, we think like Itsy Bitsy Spider.
Yeah, sure.
It's not like that. You know, they're kind of they're deep. And the people that really like them are the older generation here, because they were sung when they were younger. They used to be required learning in Japanese schools.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, like you had to learn the songs. It was
from
like
a musical perspective, or like from a cultural perspective?
No, it was like they were taught in school in music class. So So that's what I did, and then I put a lot of emphasis and work on it. But if you're gonna really try to promote this kind of music abroad and try to get them, played in the United States or in Australia or England or something, you kind of have to aggressively go after that, you know. I've always been working. I really like working as an entertainer, and I work as an MC here a lot. So I was always really busy, so I'm not focusing on it as much as I used to.
Yeah, sure,
yeah. But I'm still a singer, and those are still great songs.
Yeah. What's some of your favorite gigs as a singer that you've done?
Wow, my favorite gigs as a singer. I'd have to say pretty much. This sounds corny, but pretty much all my favorite gigs as a singer. This is a kind of a. I mean, I love singing and I love connecting with the audience. Yeah. And I have a friend who taught me years ago, love your audience. He's like, that's the biggest thing a performer can learn, is to love their audience. And so I always think of that before I go on stage or something. Like I really like love everybody in the audience, and somehow that kind of translates to the audience, and then you get this really awesome feeling. And I guess
that connection.
And one of the things, like Sydney, like I was so blessed, like because those songs that I sing are really liked by the older people. And so I worked on the Japanese. Japan only has 3 cruise ships. They've got 3 cruise
ships.
lines.
Yeah. Okay.
They got 3 cruise lines. Okay.
Okay. Right ones. Yeah.
Yeah, but so the one cool thing was like I got to go around the world. The first time I wanted to do that. So, and I was able to take 3 months off. Now I couldn't do that, but and then like we went to the pyramids, and we got to the pyramids. Actually, I've been to the pyramids. I'm not bragging. It's true. I went like 3 times because I was on this ship. But I think it was like the 3rd time I went to the pyramids. We got there and they were closed.
The pyramids were closed.
Yeah. Well, actually,
they didn't close a pyramid. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. They just put a lock on the door.
Yeah.
That's too funny. No, actually, what I meant was the room inside the big pyramid.
Yeah.
Like you have to go through this tunnel, and then it's really kind of hard to get to. You have to crawl almost.
Wow.
And then it's really small. I mean, it's okay for a small person, but like I'm 6'1", so and you almost crawl through this long tunnel. It takes like about 20 minutes maybe. And then you get to this room where the tomb was.
Yeah, okay. The tomb room.
So so I was like, so anyway, that was closed. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, easy.
So we were like, come on. Our tour guide was really, those, again, I'm being really sensitive.
Yeah.
He was a very strong Egyptian guy.
Okay. Yep.
Okay. So, and we're like, when are we going to be at the pyramids again? We don't know, right? So we've got to get
that's your one chance to get into the tomb.
Yeah, we got to get into the tomb. Come on, you don't get in the tomb. And anyway, he convinced them to open up that and let us in the tomb.
Yeah, okay.
So anyway, we get in there and we get into the tomb, and my agent from the cruise ship was like, Greg, sing.
Sing in the tomb. Well, what a location to sing in a 1,000-year-old pyramid.
Yeah, but this is a true story. So it's like, so I sang this Japanese song called Akatombo, Red Dragonflies. Dragonflies as red as sunset back when I was young. It's a really cool song. Please check it out on YouTube.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
It's called Dragonflies. But anyway, it was just kind of like eerie experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the reason that was so cool was I was watching this interview one time, Beyonce, like an interview of Beyonce. And they asked her, like, what was your coolest singing experience as a singer? Which, like, you just asked me, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And she's like, well, I'd have to say I went to Egypt.
Yeah.
I swear to God, that was her answer.
Yeah.
Like I got to go in the big tomb, and I was in the tomb, and I sang in the tomb of the pyramid, and that's my coolest experience singing. And I was like, wow man. You're
in good company. You're in great company.
My life has not been so bad as I thought.
Yeah, exactly. That's it.
So
sharing experiences.
So you should never compare yourself to people. I mean, you never know. I mean, you think people are super famous and, like on her level are going to be like give you some crazy answer. But that was just really, really made me feel good. I felt like, wow, Japan's been so good to me.
Yeah. Wow. That's a great story.
We have some questions from our listeners.
Mm-hmm.
The first question is from November Golf. And his question is, did Greg have to get into a sort of character mindset before doing the dialogue for the Alpha 3 voice?
Yeah. I mean, exactly. You just like, you listen to the director, you have them exactly what they want. You explain about the character. And I was a theater major. So that's the kind of mindset. And I just, and when I read the lines, I guess they liked it, and I'm so honored that people are still liking it and are
Yeah.
interested
We're
still.
gonna send you some videos. This is crazy. I thought you'll be more aware of the kind of ongoing legacy, I guess. But yeah.
No, I wasn't. So yeah, I really appreciate it.
Okay, that's cool. So do you do much live theater?
Well, sorry,
Like-
before we go into
Okay.
that, we've got a few more questions from the listeners.
Okay,
Um,
sorry.
Gold Card Jack, his question is, were there any references or inspirations you have used to play an announcer voice or a voice from another game that you did?
Any
Like-
references I would use? Well, like for me, like I guess I would just say growing up, I grew up in the United States.
Mm.
My father used to be a big band singer. My father was
Oh,
24 years. He was 4 years older than my mother.
Okay, yeah.
So I grew up with my dad was kind of like a grandpa.
Yeah, right.
He
Okay,
he got my
interesting.
mother pregnant,
In a big band type scenario, like on the road. Or...
Yeah, he used to sing in big bands with a megaphone. I mean, it's like because he was so much older than my mother. So
Yeah.
so I grew up like hearing those kind of voices, those kind
Mm-hmm.
of announcers, that kind of that kind of, now it's even old fashioned, like
And now,
like I actually I did a voice for the World Heritage TV program in Japan,
Mhm.
which is sponsored by Canon, and all I say is this program was brought to you by Canon.
yeah.
Okay, but actually you get pretty decent money for that.
Yeah, well, you would if you sound like that. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh, you're too nice. But anyway, the director's like, no, it's too announcery sounding. So
Oh, really? It's gonna be casual.
so say like, this program was brought to you by Canon. I mean, it was like you have to say it like a million times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But and also I'm like a Broadway guy. Like
Mm-hmm.
I really love New York and Broadway and that kind of stuff. So probably I was influenced by those kind of people.
Yep. Our next question is from Drelro. His question is, what is your favorite ice cream flavor?
That is hysterical. It used to, when I was a little kid, it used to be butter brickle.
Butter brickle. Wow.
I haven't heard of that.
Did not expect to hear that. Yeah.
Do you remember what that is?
No.
What is that? Is that like butterscotch or something?
Yeah, it's probably a little bit like butterscotch. They called it butter brickle. But now it's probably like peppermint mint.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Oh, peppermint. Okay. Yep.
peppermint. Yeah.
Okay.
That's a good question.
Yep.
Interesting.
Next question is from Dream Station 64.
Oh, I was gonna say
He's-
peppermint chocolate. Peppermint chocolate.
Okay. Yeah. You gotta
okay,
be
yeah.
specific. Don't want any
Specific,
confusion.
Yeah, can't get that one wrong.
Yes.
He asked, were you the announcer for Tech Romancer or KKO? Or Kikaio? Do you remember those games at all?
I really should have my manager sitting with me.
That's all
Yeah.
right.
You might
Screwing up.
he might be in it or you might not be in it at all. He was unsure.
He's probably wrong. He's probably just
I don't
Yeah.
remember actually. Go man.
All right.
I really don't remember. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no
Yeah,
worries.
that's okay. The Big Core, he says, does he do the announcer voice during his everyday life?
Actually, I announce wedding receptions in Japan.
Oh yeah.
And
In Japanese or
Japan has a big wedding reception formal thing. It's not like in the West where we just have a party, and
Yep.
they have a professional MC.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
I'm doing that. I'm doing ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the bride and the groom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So in that sense, I'm doing that on the weekends.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I like doing it because it's such a happy thing,
Yeah. Have you done
Well-
any Japanese TV? I feel like that voice is often you see it in Japanese TV shows as well.
I've done some, but I'm not like a big TV star or anything.
Yeah. Okay. Well, who is? We're not either.
Well, not yet. Our next question is from Sprite Mix. His question is, and you've touched on this a bit before, what is he doing for a living right now? And is he still involved with the video game industry to some extent?
Yeah, so I'm working right now basically as my main job is as I said, doing wedding reception MC work on weekends, which is a kind of a it's really a busy job here.
Yeah.
I'm also singing still in a private club which has been closed because of Corona.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I'm on TV shopping, which is
Oh,
called
really?
VSTV.
Like infomercials.
Yeah.
Yeah.
However, that too is stopped because of Corona.
Were you there in just voice, or were you actually there in person as well as an actor?
I'm there in person. Yeah.
Oh,
and
really?
I'm like the hype guy. Like, wow, that's amazing. Oh my God.
What
Yeah.
products?
That's so
What product is it?
cheap.
Pay by credit card, is it?
Jewelry, diamonds,
Yeah,
and
okay.
rubies, and like wow, only $10,000 for that diamond. How cheap.
Yeah.
Well, the second part of his question was, are you still involved with the video game industry to some extent?
Yeah. So as I just said, actually, look at it's already August,
Yep.
and oh no, it's not August, it's July. But I mean, it's close to August.
Yeah, we're basically August.
But basically, I mean, like I did a new game. I wish I had the name. I did a new game I think it was December.
Okay. Yep.
And then, it's weird because the Corona thing started like the end of February here.
Mm-hmm.
So basically our work is just like, stopped. I mean, I did get a few voiceover jobs last month, but we're still, I don't mean to give the bummer Corona talk.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Everyone's going through it in their own way.
It's the truth. The whole world, everybody's kind of like hanging in there. But
exactly.
Japan has been very good to us. They have given, Japan gives a lump sum of money to freelancers. This unheard of. I know you're not getting it in America or Australia. No, so I'm totally in love with this country right now.
Yeah, the good social order carries on even with coronavirus.
No crime.
Yeah.
We have a request from. Oh, sorry. Continue.
No crazy Aussies. I'm teasing.
No crazy Yanks either.
No crazy Americans. Oh,
well, a few. No. Yeah, sorry. Go on, Quest.
Yeah, we have a request from Top Hat Gaming Man. He runs a YouTube channel. He has over 70,000 subscribers, but he really likes your announcing. And he said, I would love it if you could get the Street Fighter Alpha 3 announcer to say for me, you are watching Top Hat Gaming Man, you win, in an announcer voice.
What is it?
You are watching Top Hat Gaming Man, you win.
You are watching Top Hat Gaming Man, you win!
That was Street Fighter Alpha 3 right there. I could hear it. I could hear it come out in your voice.
It was great.
That's awesome.
We have our own request for your voice, if you're okay with that.
Sure.
The first one is just a line from the actual game. It's showtime.
Right.
This is the classic.
Okay. I'll give you like what I would do normally, okay? I would give him like 5 versions.
Oh, interesting.
It's showtime!
That's close.
It's showtime! It's showtime! It's showtime! Maybe that was 4.
Yeah,
that's great.
Somewhere in between all 4 of those, that is exactly what it is. All the way from 1998, I can hear
it. Can you say, this is Street Fighter Alpha 4?
You guys are too funny. Okay. This is Street Fighter Alpha 4.
Yeah, that's the dream. One day, Capcom is going to make Street Fighter Alpha 4, and I'm sure I'll get you to do the voice.
Can you do You Can't Handle the Truth?
You guys are funny. You can't handle the truth!
And before you were saying, was it peppermint ice cream, right? That you liked?
Yeah, peppermint chocolate.
Can you say the best ice cream is peppermint chocolate?
The best ice cream is peppermint chocolate.
You've definitely got that. I feel like your go-to is a very enthusiastic, like bright kind of voice. Is that mostly what you gravitate towards?
actually depends. Like on my voice demo, I try to put a variety of voice styles and sound, and especially now there's more of a trend to just talk really naturally and not have any kind of special inflection in your voice, just like this. This is the new, Geyser Water. It's pretty amazing. You should check it out. I mean, just
with a little bit of vocal fry at the end.
Yeah, but it's not that popular in Japan. I think it's probably more popular in the West.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Just to nag you for one more. Can you say Alpha 3 Australia?
Of course. Alpha 3 Australia.
Yes. Thank you so much for coming on. Yeah, that was beautiful.
That was really
but
good.
one take, no worries.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true.
Cool. Do you have any final questions, Quest? Otherwise, I'll wrap it up.
Hang on. I just want to talk to him, but I've got no more questions.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate it. And thanks for listening to this episode of the Alpha Lives podcast. And we'll be back in 2 weeks with another episode. And until then, remember, Alpha lives.